Council members, our incredible city team, the greater Minneapolis community, my family. It is such an honor to have everybody here. And good morning and welcome and thank you for joining for our 2026 budget address. I want to begin by a simple truth. A great city doesn't happen by accident. It's built to last, built to weather tough seasons, built to serve not just this year, but the next generation, built to keep its promises to the people who call it home. That's what this budget is about. It's about building a city that is going to last. And as some of you know, this theme is very personal to me right now. Just a couple weeks ago, my wife Sarah and I welcomed our second daughter into the world, Estelle Bloom Fry. It's been beautiful, it's been humbling, and like any new parent will tell you, it's a little bit messy. But more than anything, it's been clarifying. Holding Estelle reminds me that the work we do here is not just about the next fiscal year. It's about the Minneapolis we're building for her, for my older daughter, Frida, and for every single family in our entire city. A city where the streets are safe, where their neighbors have homes, where small businesses succeed and culture blossoms, and where city government isn't a punchline, it's a promise kept. This year's budget reflects commitment. It's honest, it's disciplined, and focused on the core services that make Minneapolis strong, so that decades from now, our city is still standing tall, still working for its people, and still built to last. It's the most cliche, overused rhetorical flourish when we talk about city budgets being more than numbers. They're expressions of our values. But some things are cliche because they are true. Budgets show how we prioritize and what the kind of city that we all envision could look like. And sometimes it means not just chasing every new idea, but investing in things that already work. This budget didn't happen in a vacuum. Over the last several months, our city departments and budget team rolled up their sleeves. They went through their budgets line by line. They evaluated every program, every vacancy, and every dollar spent. And they used data to come forward with real solutions to close our gap without breaking the services that residents in our city rely on. That's the kind of government that residents expect, and I couldn't be prouder of their work. Contrast that with Washington. Agencies dismantled, departments hollowed out, services cut off midstream, and people left wondering if their government works at all. Here in Minneapolis, we do it differently. We plan ahead, we govern responsibly, and we make sure that staff are coming along with us, all of them. Despite this hard work, this was not an easy budget year, but it's also not a crisis budget. This is a disciplined budget. We knew this year would require focus and tough calls because good governance sometimes means refocusing and then also doubling down on what we know works. Our first and most important task was reducing the projected levy increase. In a post-pandemic world, the value of large office buildings is going down in every major city, and Minneapolis is no exception. Unfortunately, that has a pronounced impact on our tax base and our budget. With no action, this year's property tax increase was projected to reach 13%. That would have been unacceptable and unaffordable to working families in our city. The impact on renters and homeowners alike would have been unsustainable. Minneapolis has been a national leader on affordable housing, but a 13% levy increase would have set us back dramatically. Today, I am proud to announce that our city staff has identified savings and cuts that reduce the projected levy increase by 40%, bringing it down from 13% to 7.8%. Our approach to identifying these savings was really straightforward. Protect the core services that our residents rely on every single day. Invest in proven programs instead of launching new ones that are untested or unsustainable. Keep city staff, the people who make this city work, on the job. And do everything possible to keep the levy down, recognizing that this money belongs to the people of Minneapolis, and we need to make sure that we are managing it wisely. And we achieved all of this without layoffs, because our people, our plow drivers, our 911 dispatchers and public safety officers, they are the backbone of city government. In a proud union city, ours, making sure that we're protecting those jobs and protecting the services residents count on is of paramount importance. We also worked smarter. In past years, departments submitted long lists of proposals for new programs. Last year, we had 145 new spending proposals. This year, we said don't give us any. Instead, we told departments, evaluate what isn't working or has shifted to other jurisdictions. Identify programs that have delivered and distinguish them from those that have not. Take a closer look at vacant positions and cut them if they aren't absolutely needed. And recommend reductions that don't impact core city services. Here's what that looked like. Reducing open streets from 4 events to 3, keeping the program alive but scaling it responsibly. Sunsetting vacant positions that departments agreed weren't critical to the operations. Shifting funding from untested new initiatives to ones we know work, like Stable Homes, Stable Schools, a program that is already keeping thousands of Minneapolis public school residents in their homes. Scaling back select pilots that weren't yet operational, and ending double overtime for MPD, saving taxpayer dollars while still meeting our core public safety obligations. We also recognized that new revenue could be generated responsibly with tools that are standard and are resident-friendly. Adding credit card processing fees for utility payments, which many cities, the state, and the county already do. And expanding convenient payment options like Venmo, making it easier for residents to pay on time and avoid incurring a late fee. And let's be real. Part of responsible budgeting this year was also planning for the unknown. Washington, D.C. is in chaos. Federal cuts have become a regular threat. And with Donald Trump in office, the uncertainty isn't just about politics, it's about whether cities like ours can rely on federal partnership at all. That's why we budgeted intelligently. We saved where we could, because when you don't know what's coming down the road, the smartest move is to make sure that you're ready. The result? $23 million in savings, a levy increase held to just 7.8%, and a budget that reflects both discipline and vision, while making sure that we're still able to provide necessary services to our residents. Every decision came back to one question. Will this make Minneapolis stronger for the long term? Will this make Minneapolis a city that is built to last? One of the reasons Minneapolis can make strategic, long-term investments, even in a tight budget year, is because we've earned and maintained a AAA bond rating from 3 major rating agencies. We're one of the few cities in the entire country that has made this achievement. I know that sounds like accounting jargon, but here's why it matters. A AAA bond rating is the highest a city can receive. It signifies strong, responsible financial management. It says taxpayers millions. It saves taxpayers millions because we can borrow for major projects at lower interest rates. That strong financial footing allows us to move forward on capital projects that make a visible daily difference in the lives of residents. Here's a few examples. Rebuilding the Nicollet Avenue Bridge over Minnehaha Creek. The $63 million project, mostly funded by state and federal dollars, will replace a failing bridge and keep critical connection open for our neighborhoods. We're paving 5 miles. We're paving 55 miles of parkway and improving 377 miles of alleys. So getting around Minneapolis is safer and easier for everyone. Reimagining the former Kmart site on Nicollet, we're reopening Nicollet Avenue and transforming the site into a vibrant hub with affordable housing, local businesses, and a space for communities to gather. Minneapolis Democracy Center. At the former 3rd Precinct site, we're creating a new home in election and voter services alongside a community partner, turning a place of division into a place for civic engagement. Upper Harbor Terminal. Local artists are helping to reimagine our riverfront, creating permanent public art that tells the stories of the North Side community. These investments are the backbone of a city built to last. Stronger streets, safer bridges, better transit, and corridors that support local commerce. And alongside these community-focused investments, our capital plan also fulfills court-enforceable commitments under the state settlement agreement and federal consent decree to modernize public safety, including a public safety training and wellness center to provide modern training facilities for the police and firefighters, and 4th Precinct modernization, 5th Precinct roof enforcement and replacement, along with an evidence-based warehouse, forensic garage, and canine facility upgrades critical to improvements that meet our legal obligations and strengthen safety. All of these projects are possible because we've managed our finances carefully and responsibly. Good governance today means a stronger, safer, more resilient city tomorrow. And even as we've tightened our focus, this is not an austerity budget. This is a recalibration, an investment in the fundamentals that make Minneapolis strong. Housing, safety, climate, economic inclusion, and the good governance that help to bring it all together. At the foundation of a successful city is a safe and stable home. We know that when families have a roof over their heads, everything else gets stronger. Kids do better in school. Parents can focus on work, and neighborhoods become safer and better connected. That's why this budget doubles down on the strategies that we know are working. Stable homes, stable schools continues to be a cornerstone of our housing strategy. Thousands of Minneapolis kids have stayed in their schools because their families are able to stay in their homes. We're keeping this program strong because it's not just housing policy that's proven to be successful. It's education and public safety policy too. We're making ongoing investments in the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which remains our most effective tool to ensure that housing is affordable for the long haul, creating more options so that residents can live in neighborhoods of their choice. Year after year, this fund has delivered hundreds and hundreds of units for the residents who need them most. And we're continuing to support and provide support for the Minneapolis Public Housing Authority, because public housing is one of the most important sources of stability for thousands of residents. Every dollar we invest preserves long-term, deeply affordable homes for generations. At the same time, we're growing and preserving housing. We're also confronting homelessness and encampments with urgency and compassion. Over the last several years, we've implemented a coordinated, multi-departmental, multi-jurisdictional response connecting unsheltered residents to housing and services, and when necessary, closing encampments that pose health and safety risks. And as we've seen, we are presently seeing some significant improvements. With $1 million in funding, we're continuing that progress, and we're investing in additional shelter because our neighbors deserve a place to sleep. They deserve a place to sleep at night. They deserve a roof over their heads. Shelter is a critical link to permanent housing, and until recently was covered by significant funding from the state. This investment that we are making recognizes that the work of getting unhoused people off the streets into homes and shelter must continue. But we also must work together with our partners, the county and state, to ensure that those dollars are ultimately restored. Our approach hasn't changed. Lead with housing and services. Prioritize safety for residents and neighbors. Coordinate every step with our partners. This work is hard, it's complex, but it's also necessary. And our city team has shown that when we align our resources and stay persistent, we can get more people into homes. In short, this budget says clearly, housing is the foundation. When we keep families stable, we keep our neighborhoods and our city strong. A strong city also means that it's a safe city, and safe cities have to be the top priority for every mayor in our country. This budget keeps our city moving toward a 21st century public safety system, one that is effective, one that is accountable, and that is built to last. And we're doing it by investing in the full spectrum of safety from first response to violence prevention. First, we're continuing the work of police recruitment. The Minneapolis Police Department is the most diverse it has been in our city's history. Applicants and recruits are coming on board in numbers we have not seen in years. And we now have more than 600 officers, and those numbers are climbing every single month. We are fully funding the work required under our state settlement agreement and federal consent decree. And as planned in our biennial budget, we are adding 2 new compliance positions to the implementation unit. This ensures we don't just meet our obligations on paper, we follow through with the oversight, the training, and the accountability that build public confidence. And public safety in Minneapolis isn't just about police. It's about creating a comprehensive approach. Our behavioral crisis response program continues, connecting residents in crisis to the help that they need. Our violence prevention efforts continue to focus on community-led, data-driven strategies that break cycles of violence before they begin. And we're maintaining our full sworn complement of firefighters, while also adding 15 firefighters to the general fund in 2026 to keep pace with the service demands and keep our residents safe. Our emergency preparedness work also remains already strong. Already this year, our emergency management team has put the training into action, preparing the city for multiple storms and making sure we're ready for whatever comes our way. This is what a modern, resilient safety system looks like. A department meeting its legal and moral obligations, supported by civilian professionals and prevention strategies, all working together to keep Minneapolis safe and built to last. When we talk about building a city that lasts, it's not just about streets and bridges. It's also about the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the health of our families and all of our neighbors. This budget makes real, tangible investments to ensure that Minneapolis is both climate resilient and healthy for the next generation. On the climate front, we've done more to combat climate change in the last year than in the previous 10 years combined. We are continuing to lead with our Climate Legacy Initiative, which, through more than $8.4 million, is delivering cleaner energy, greener infrastructure, and a roadmap to meet our ambitious emissions goals. The CLI is retrofitting homes for energy efficiency and expanding renewable power across city facilities and investing in neighborhoods most vulnerable to climate impacts. Our zero waste plan is moving us closer to a future where less ends up in a landfill and where every household has the tools that they need to reduce, reuse, and recycle. And through the Energy Conservation and Emissions Reduction Project, we're providing $1.5 million in upfront capital to retrofit city buildings and equipment, cutting energy use, lowering costs, and shrinking our carbon footprint. This is how you prepare for the impacts of climate change while keeping the city functional and beautiful. On the public health front, we are confronting the opioid crisis with compassion and data-driven strategies. Through a combination of opioid settlement dollars and federal grants, we're making some key investments. Let me explain the vision that we are working toward. When someone is heavily addicted to opioids, help is often not accepted, whether they're intoxicated or going through withdrawal. But there is a middle zone where people are more open to accepting care. By investing in Brixadi, we can expand that middle zone, easing withdrawal symptoms so that more people are ready to take treatment and ready for long-lasting recovery. And then, when we do bring someone in for treatment, we need health professionals ready to provide care immediately, not in a week and a half, not when the appointment becomes available, but right now. That's where our mobile medical unit comes in. It will literally drive people from where they are. It will help to make sure that they have the service that they need and the care that can ultimately provide people access to Brixadi, making the likelihood of treatment and a possibility for recovery directly within reach. But we aren't stopping there. Our Narcan vending machines will make sure that life-saving overdose reversal medication is not only close at hand, but it's free. And through our hospital-based intervention program, First Step, we are connecting overdose survivors to treatment and support the moment they are ready to accept help. We're doing the work to save lives so that healthy people can live healthy lives. A strong Minneapolis is an inclusive Minneapolis, one where every resident, no matter who you are, where you came from, no matter what barriers you face, have the opportunity to participate in our economy, and they see themselves as part of our city's success. That's why this budget continues to support the Ownership and Opportunity Fund, our tool to help Black, brown, and immigrant local entrepreneurs not just open businesses, but build wealth and lasting roots in our city. Because inclusion isn't just about participation, it's about ownership. We're also keeping up the investments that turn economic inclusion into action. We're maintaining our support for Black businesses and immigrant entrepreneurs and families, because immigration is a cornerstone of our city's economic and cultural vibrancy. While the Trump administration vilifies immigrants, Minneapolis welcomes them. We are a proud, welcoming city. And that's not just a title, that is a commitment. Our policies, our programs, and our budget reflect that commitment by supporting immigrant entrepreneurs, expanding access to city programs regardless of status, and funding trusted services that help people build a life here. Because in Minneapolis, we don't scapegoat immigrants. We stand with them, we invest in them, and we grow stronger because of them. Our budget also makes strategic investments to keep downtown clean, safe, and successful year-round. We're moving forward with the reimagining of Nicollet Mall to a 24-hour downtown corridor that supports business, arts, and culture, including new events like the Big Honkin' Truck Parade and Dinner de Nord. I think you can expect more of them. Vibrant downtown storefronts will continue to activate empty retail spaces, attract new businesses, and keep our street-level experience lively for residents and visitors. And through the Developer Technical Assistance Program, with $350,000 in funding, we're maintaining and improving the public spaces and amenities that keep downtown functional and inviting. And then there's our park system, a shining gem of our city. It's the very reason I chose to live here, and I know I'm not unique. Consistently rated as the best park system in the entire country, the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board has done extraordinary things. They've been working to expand recreational opportunities for kids and families, maintaining and improving world-class facilities like North Commons, and creating beautiful park spaces within a 10-minute walk of everybody that calls Minneapolis home. That's why we were awarded the Gold Medal of Excellence. And that's why we're investing an additional $3.2 million in 2026 to keep that great work going. These investments are not just about physical spaces. They're about confidence in our city's future. Minneapolis is on solid footing. This budget keeps it that way by investing wisely in a city that is built to last. Homes that are stable, streets and bridges that are safe, a public safety system that is trusted and effective, a downtown that succeeds, a city government that works. That's the city I want our daughters, all of our daughters, and every child to inherit. This budget says that in Minneapolis, we believe in doing the work, making smart choices today to protect the city that we will hand off tomorrow, keeping our promises to the people who rely on us. When our kids are adults, they won't remember this year's levy number. They won't know the line item adjustments or the capital plan schedule. But they will live in the city that we are building together. A city where their streets are safe, where everyone has a place to call home, where small businesses succeed in corridors that are alive with arts and culture, where city government is not a punchline but a promise kept. We've done the hard work to make sure that Minneapolis can weather the unknown, grow stronger, and keep moving forward. So let's take pride in the discipline that we all have shown, the values we've upheld, and the future that we are securing together. This is the city I love. This is the city I am proud to lead along with all of you, and this is the budget I am proud to present to you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Need anything. I'll send you your stuff.
Is he picking questions?
I'm finding.
Thank you.
Yep. Enjoy your time with my game.